In these unprecedented times, knowledge is the only light that we can cling to, or only ray of hope. Hi, everybody. Dare to Compete presents Winning Mantras, an endeavor to ignite the spirit of competitiveness. This episode of Winning Mantras welcomes Apurva Bansal, Ritika Jha, and Garima Singh Nehar, the winners of JSK Episode 3 2019. Hi, team. First of all, tell me how have you all been during this quarantine and what is up right now?
So we all have been good, staying in and staying safe during this quarantine. And we have been here from past almost 2 months at our homes. So we started reading books, at least for me. I started reading management and business books, getting acquainted with the current trends, following webinars to know how the pandemic has been and what are its impact on different sectors, and also preparing ourselves and bracing ourselves for the new roles that we have got for as a careers.
What about Garima and Ritika?
Yeah, same here. I'm trying to, associate a little more with my hobbies right now. And apart from that, yes, I'm a part of a live project with a startup and waiting for my joining.
So I've been catching up on a little bit of reading, and again, I'm reading fiction for a change because that used to be my hobby before B school. So I've been reading a couple of classics, and again, a live project, and my joining is on June 1st. So all excited.
Okay, that's great. All of you, congratulations for your joining, and I hope it turns out to be really great. Okay, now let's move on to one of the most important questions of this session, why we all are here. What was GSK Episode 3 all about, and how was the competition structured?
So JSK Pharma actually, they float this competition every year, and this was the third edition. Apart from that, there is a basic case study. The colleges are divided into two groups. One is where GSK visits the campus. The panel, a couple of jury members, they visit the campus, and the remaining are where we virtually present. There is a combined list of people who are, then selected, and then the top 5 people they visit their Mumbai office and present their solutions. In the time in the duration between virtual presentation and final presentation, we are assigned a mentors. So we are assigned a mentor each, so that we can make our solutions better and try to come up with something finer.
Okay, great. And how is this competition different from all the other case study competitions?
So I think one thing that we normally do not have or we rarely have is a mentorship period in a competition, in a corporate competition. So when we have a mentor, we actually relate our ideas to the real world scenario, understand their side of story and how the business has actually been running from past years and how do they want to innovate. So that innovation part, I think when we have a mentor, we merge that expectation to a reality check, and that helps us innovate our ideas, get on to different things, and also try to see the feasibility and the implementation part of the idea. So this is how I think GSK has been different for us.
Also adding to that, I'll also mention the presence of GSK employees from different departments while we were presenting. So all the departments in GSK that that concerned from our idea in some way or the other were all present apart from the senior leadership. So I think that was also a good way to get the industry insight on the lines that we were thinking.
Right, and there was a live broadcast in a couple of these schools as well. I think I am Indore and I am Kozhikode. So so there was a very broad audience, and thankfully we didn't know about it. Otherwise, at least I would have been quite nervous.
Okay, that's awesome. That sounds like a really great competition. Guys, what was the case study given to you all?
So the case study was on digitization of pharma. So we were given a case about the e-pharmacy and the current business model that an e-pharmacy runs into. And we had to try out our skills and also see the trends of pharma industry and see if we can merge the e-pharmacy model with the current digitization for a pharma company. That how should a pharma company approach the online channel and the the current modernization that has been happening inside the economy, and how we can bridge the gap between the offline and the online channel.
All right, okay. Walk us through the entire thought process. How did you guys begin working on the case, and what was your strategy from the beginning to the very end?
Okay, so since the case revolved mostly around, trying digital channels and exploring multiple channels, along with following the digital trends in pharma. So our basic understanding from the very beginning was pharma as an industry is not very digitized. So the digitization level is only till the customer end, or maybe till where the sales reps interact with the doctors. So we wanted to digitize the entire process of how after manufacturing the entire supply chain works, and not only supply chain, how we do the selling through the entire channel. I mean, we understood how pharma functions. So from manufacturers, it goes to the CFA. CFA is clearing and forwarding agents. From there, it goes to the distributors, and distributors to the retailers. So we wanted to digitize the entire channel, not only the channel where the sales rep goes to the doctor and introduces the medicines or the brands to the doctor using maybe an iPad or any other digital medium. So we wanted to identify all the stakeholders in the entire process, be it the distributors, the retailers, the clearing forwarding agents, the customers, as well as the doctors. We identified the three key stakeholders, and then we tried to merge them through a marketplace model, and we explained how each and every one will function, how the platform will run, and how the doctors will make sure that the customers, that is the patients, they embark upon this digital journey, and how obviously GSK is benefited along with the patient benefits.
Okay, that is a great idea, I think. Now, when you have a case study in hand, you have a strategy in hand, what are the key aspects that you have to keep in mind while working on a case study specifically? Also, talk about the key aspects of a presentation. What all should a person keep in mind when creating a presentation of a case study that you have worked on?
Yeah, so I think talking about your first question, I think there should be a logical flow on how do we start. For example, in this particular case, there were digital trends, that pharmaceutical as an industry as a whole is witnessing right now. So we started with, a couple of slides on mentioning those digital trends. And after that, whatever ideas that we gave, we try to associate those ideas with the trends that were mentioned earlier. One. Apart from that, so this was basically a case, it was very imperative that there'll be digital intervention on various touch points of a pharmaceutical industry, and that is what we were asked for. But then one thing that we did different was include customers. The end consumers, which generally are a little away from pharmaceutical companies in terms of marketing, or in terms of their engagement. So we tried to include that, and we made sure that that is highlighted all across our presentation. And we also included an HCP segment very differently, so that even that is highlighted in a way that so basically it was very imperative that we go ahead and associate our idea with different touch points, but then we made sure that that comes very segregated and in a very refined, in a connected yet segregated manner through a presentation.
Okay. So what was the entire flow of your presentation? Where did you begin, and how did the presentation go about?
So the flow of presentation started from explaining the holistic picture of the pharma market and what digitization trends are taking place inside that. And then we try to pick up the facts which relate to our marketplace model and try to weave them into a story, like Garima said. So we particularly then define the marketplace model and the key stakeholders who can be benefited from it. And then we weaved into the revenue and the cost structures of that particular model. And then we saw that how the current model or the channel of HCP can help the marketplace model to grow and expand further. And I think Ritika and I, we also try to came up with a market or a market base that we can track through that marketplace model for pharma company.
Okay. That's an amazing insight. I think this is going to really help the ones who are going to participate in further editions of GSK.
Sure.
Guys, when you're working on a case study, there are a few things that you might miss, but when you see other presentations, you often come across surprisingly good ideas, some amazing ideas, and you often wonder why, and how things went wrong that you couldn't think of that point. Were there any such situations when you saw other presentations? Were there some surprising elements in their presentations?
I think the surprising elements were in our presentation because we were the national winners.
That's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, but then there was this team from IIM Calcutta who focused only on supply chain. So it was actually a very bold move because when we started off, there was no point where we did not think about how to bring about more interaction with the final customer. Because as of now, the customers for any pharmaceutical company is defined as their doctors who write prescriptions wherein they mention their medicine and they prescribe their medicines or brands. So there was no point where we did not want to bring about a change wherein we wanted to integrate those customers and bring them together. But IIM Calcutta team, they focused only on supply chain, how to digitize it, how to digitally reduce the inventory levels, and how to save a lot of inventory cost. So that was something bold, and but then that was something which, I mean, I would not say lack a few things, but that was solely concentrating on one part. So according to me, digitization is not something that happens in only one part of the value chain. It happens throughout. So you cannot say my supply chain will be digitized, but my production and R&D and maybe the way I interact with the customers are not. So for the organization to prosper and go higher on the digital quotient, the digitization part has to be throughout the organization.
Okay, perfect. I think that's a great insight again. Guys, what all roadblocks did you come across when working on your case study? And how did you solve those roadblocks and how did you work past those obstacles?
So I think solving a case study of this sort, and I do not speak only with respect to GSK, but even generally in other competitions as well, is generally a factor of two things. One is innovation in terms of how different your idea is, because I think that is one of the things that you are generally judged on, evaluated on. And another is that how tied that idea is to the practical and the realities of that industry. So and sometimes it is a trade-off between both. I mean, you come up with a very good idea, but that is not practically implementable, one, or maybe it doesn't sync with the values and vision of the company. So I think these are the two major things that one should keep in mind while this. So all the roadblocks that we faced in particular are trying to trade off between these two, trying not to be very away from the realities and still trying to make sure that the idea is unique and something that impresses people. Yeah.
Did you guys have clashes in the team in general, like disagreements or somebody's not agreeing to one point, and then you finally have to discard the entire idea, something of that sort?
That is something that everybody is prone to, and thankfully we did not have much disagreements. Yet we are all a devil's advocate. We keep questioning our ideas, and I have the worst habit of questioning the idea at the wrong times. So yeah, even even the night before the grand finale.
Yeah.
So it's better to trust your idea. It's better to make it foolproof when you have the time, and just take a chill pill and go and present.
Now, let's talk about the jury. What were they looking for and what sort of questions did they ask?
The jury we had was Mr. Anil Iyer, Mr. Sumay Dheri, the marketing guy, Mr. Anil Iyer, the I think guy, Mr. Vedahish, who was the then MD, and Miss Meenakshi Priyam, who was the HR and cherished about the particular grand finale was Mr. Iyer asking questions saying that if I step into your shoes or if the team steps into GSK shoes, what is the evaluation of the idea that you're pitching to me? So that actually, we were the last team to present, and that particular question struck our heads. Anything that what will we say, that how will we value our own idea? So that was very near to you, and it seems very great when you are asked to step into the shoes of GSK and says, please value your idea. I'm ready to buy for whatever price you say. That's a whole lot of faith that a team and a top management puts into your idea. And this actually gave us a thought that the idea has to be implementable, because today you are standing at the giver's end or the sender's end, and tomorrow if you are standing at the receiver's end, how would you evaluate the idea? How would you go with the implementation part?
I also remember sir asking the supply chain idea team, I think I am Kohei Code, I think.
Calcutta.
Yeah, so I'm Calcutta, yeah. Asking them that, if we were to implement this idea in our company, will you be willing to head it? So, just to understand how committed you are to your idea and, how viable you think it is, he used to ask such questions. He asked such questions. And also one thing, I think that was mentioned by one of the jury members is that how, the financials, the profitability is okay, but how are you, how through your ideas, how are you able to cater to customers' convenience was one thing that they were very much looking for. And they mentioned that before the start of the presentation. Sorry.
Every year, many corporates organize case study competitions all around the year for B school students specifically. Why in particular are case study competitions important, and how do they shape a B schooler's life?
The learnings that you get inside a classroom in a B school are important and mostly theoretical. So even the step of involving case studies in a classroom learning was to ensure that you get industry relevance of the frameworks, the theory that you're learning in a classroom. But even those case studies are not of the situations that are going on in the industry in real time. In the best case scenario, a few years before. So I think this is the best way to see how much have you learned in your year one, since we participated in most of the competition in year two, and how are you able to implement your learnings into ideas, industry specific ideas. I mean, are you still equipped enough to be able to devise strategies for different industries? And the fact that you can still be a part of different competitions from different industries, and it is like testing yourself into strategy skills is how I think it is. So I think these are one of the major takeaways from a B school, and I'm sure there must be other ways out, but for me this is one of the best ways out to make the most out of MBA.
Also, in addition to Garima, what I feel is, in the very beginning, when you start doing case study competitions, everybody, all of us would have felt so that we come up with one solid solution and we would try to justify it in every way possible. But as you grow over time, as you start participating in a lot of competitions, like for us, we did almost 15 competitions, more than 15 competitions in the second year. So towards the end, what we could do was we could think of multiple ideas which are implementable at the same point or maybe in a phased manner. Also, we could synthesize those ideas properly and show them that if you implement idea number 1, this is the time where you should start thinking about idea 2 to make idea 1 foolproof and start going ahead in one particular direction. So what I feel is we could communicate better, we could synthesize our ideas better, we could go wide and we could go deep over a period of time.
Okay. That was about case study competitions in particular. What would you guys like to say about corporate competitions in general? Why are corporate competitions important for an MBA student's life, and why should one participate in it?
corporate competitions open us an arena to go into the real world, real corporate world, imagine our lives there, talk to different team leaders, which we might not be able to in case we do not have a chance to head for a corporate competition. That's one part of it. But sometimes we actually meet good set of our peers from different MBA institutes. We have a good mentor that we build a good relationship with. So these interpersonal skills, these corporate skills we get when we head ourselves into corporate competitions. That's one part of it. Second, what I feel that as a B school student, we also need to manage our different activities better and the good time management skills that we learn. Apart from managing the classes, giving the projects of classes, and also putting our heads extra time to do these corporate competitions and gain an understanding about different industries at same point of time.
Okay, okay. What major learnings would you say that you have garnered from GSK Edition 3?
In the starting, we were confused that whether this case is only about e-pharmacies and delivering medicines to the end customer. But then we did not stick to that, and it was a very conscious and a bold decision, I would say, to incorporate different touch points and different stakeholders into the idea that we ultimately presented. So this is not a competition in which we went, I won't say we didn't go deep. We did go deep, but more than deep, we went wide. So I think sometimes a broad vision is required, sometimes it is important to involve almost all the stakeholders into your idea, and to make sure that the ultimate purpose of it is served is what I would say a learning that I've got from this particular because I think that was one of the things that was more appreciated in our idea also, that we did not leave aside even one stakeholder that was not benefited from the idea that we were proposing. So yes.
In addition to what Garima said, when we talk about stakeholders, we talk about their different sides of problems and the pros and cons that every stakeholders has in mind when he delves into a new technological idea. So when we step into the shoes of the opposite side, we actually reflect back on our idea. We get to know the initial gaps and the problems that they might face if this idea is implementable. So I think it helps us to integrate the paths better. It helped us to understand the plight of different stakeholders better and come up with an idea which has minimum loopholes and minimum risk for those stakeholders.
I think this is why everybody should participate in GSK Edition XYZ, whatever comes up next. Would you guys advise something to the young ones who will be joining B School this year for GSK and other corporate competitions as well?
I would go with read more. Read everything that is given to you. Read all the case studies, be it in the classroom or outside. Participate in as many competitions as you can. You will learn the most.
I would say that always look for a feasible and implementable business idea for competitions, and even for your startups if you have any. It's important to analyze the risks of your idea on all stakeholders. Try to give a holistic view to your idea, because this will help you in identifying the loopholes at an early stage. Keep the focus on learning through the process and everything will fall into place.
I would say that make sure that the context of a business problem decides the framework that you're applying. Apart from that, be very choosy about the competitions, about the number and the type of competitions that you would be doing in your MBA life, because I think there are a limited number of there's a limited amount of effort that you can give to competition, so you should be very choosy about what are you investing the time on. Yeah.
Okay, Garima, one more question has popped up in my head in respect to your answer. How should a person choose which competition to participate in and which competition to not? Because there are a number of case study and other competitions as well in a B school that are organized every year. So how can a student identify that this competition is maybe the one that I should jump into?
So there are multiple multiple factors that one can think of. First of all, everybody's inclined toward some particular industries that they would want to work in. So that can be one big. Then there also can be, it depends on the number of rounds, on how the entire competition is structured. How is that clashing with other commitments that you have in a B school? And since one of the things that is underlining in an activity like this is that most of the competitions are launched in a week. I mean, they generally, the rounds clash. So it's then that I'm saying that you should have your preference clear in your mind. Otherwise, if there are different competitions arriving in different periods of time, you should be a part of all.
Okay.
Because for us, there were times when there were, submissions of more than 2-3 competitions parallel. So the level of research that you can do per competition reduces significantly.
Definitely. I think we all agree with you here. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Apurva, Ritika, and Garima, for staying with us for this session. It was really nice interacting with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.